let's see. You need to know here the main concept of this question, which is the distance. How to find the distance between two points. This is the formula. This is the distance formula. And another concept that you need here is the absolute value. We will see how we will use the absolute value here. So here we have 2 points, P and Q. So the distance between P and Q, according to the distance formula, it is the square root of the x coordinate minus the x coordinate, all squared. So it is 2x minus 2x, which will be what? Plus. So it will be plus 2x all squared plus the y coordinate minus the y coordinate. So it is negative 7x minus it will be plus. Again, ya shabab, it is the same if you take this minus this or this minus this, it is the same because you will square. Now this will be equals to the square root of what? 2x plus 2x, 4x all squared plus negative 7 plus 4, negative 3x all squared. This is equals to the square root of 16x squared plus, is it plus or minus? It will be 9 or negative 9? 9x squared. Great. This is equals to the square root of what? 25x squared. You have 16 real plus 9 real. 25 real. Now, can we distribute the square root over the sum? No, the square root cannot be over the sum. But here we don't have sum, we have a product. So it is the square root of this multiplied by the square root of this. The square root of 25 multiplied by the square root of x squared. Right or not? The square root of 25, 5. The square root of x squared, absolute value of x. We don't know what is x is. It could be positive, it could be negative. But he told me here, that x is what? So x is negative. Do you remember now if someone asks you, Shabab, what is the absolute value of y? Why? Ya Shabab, what is the absolute value of y? Please, you cannot answer this question after this one. The absolute value of y, let me write it here. The absolute value of y is y or negative y. This is your answer should be. The absolute value of y. It is y if y is what? Non-negative. And it is negative y if y is what? This is the absolute value of anything. So the absolute value of x here, x is negative. So what it will be? This will be equals to 5 minus x, right? This is wrong. If it is in the choices, you will be unlucky. Because this is now subtraction. In fact, we have multiplication. So you should write it inside brackets like this. Now, positive 5 multiplied by negative x. Positive by negative should be negative 5 by x, 5x. Why we choose the negative? Because where to write it here. So let me write it here. Here, how to remove the absolute value? X is what? What is inside the absolute value? What is inside the absolute value is what? Less than 0, negative. So because that what is inside the absolute value is negative, we multiply by negative. Now, is it clear from where the negative comes, ya Shabab? Of course, because x is negative, by the way. It is a distance. How the distance? The answer is negative 5x. So it makes sense. If without negative, it is wrong. The distance is positive. So here, if x is negative, negative by negative is positive. So this makes sense. If it is without negative, 5x is negative. This is negative, because x is negative. I heard someone said no. Why you didn't get the negative? You need to come to my office hours if you don't know from where negative comes from. Yes, let's go ahead. Check your answer. Your answer is, the right answer is C. Why it is C, ya Shabab? Can we solve it, please? Please, ya Shabab, quiet. Hello. Let's solve it together now. Let's solve it together. What we have here, let me just make like not necessarily, it is okay if you want to sketch these points or to plot these points on the XY plane, but just think about it this way. you have here, you have a midpoint M between 2 points. So أكيد midpoints, it will be between 2 points. One point is 6, and I'm not sketching the points exactly in the XY plane, but you can do that, of course, in the XY plane. Just think about it this way. You have a midpoint. He gave you the midpoint, 6 and 8, between the line segment joining 2 other points, A and B. If A has these coordinates, he gave you A is 2 and 3. The question is, what is B? What are the coordinates of B? Now, this means that you need to know what is the X coordinate and the Y coordinate of the point B. So since they are unknown, let's call them X and Y, A and B, whatever and whatever. Okay? Now, the question will be what? What is X? What is what? Y. This is the idea. Now, from the definition of the midpoint, the midpoint is what? 6 and 8. Now, if you calculate this 6, it should be what? The X coordinate plus the X coordinate over 2. So what we have X plus 2 over 2 should be equals to what? 6. To 6. From here, we have an equation that we can solve for what? For X. Now let's solve it. It will be what? X plus 2 equals to what? 12. X equals to 12 minus 2. X equals to what? 10. So according to the choices, there is only one option with X equals to what? To 10. So this means that the answer is C, but you have to make sure. Maybe you did a mistake. So now let's go to the second part. Now also Y plus 3 over 2 equals to what? To 8. Y, this is from the definition of the midpoint formula, which means that Y plus 3 equals to what? 16. Multiply both sides by 2. Y equals to 16 minus 3. Y is what? 13. Is 13. So the midpoint, the point P, and so X and Y are 10 and 13. And the answer is C. Go again, ya shabab. Don't, I have noticed, I have seen some of you, they are choose A and compare it with this point, and they calculate, is it 6 or not? You will do 5 operations. And you need to know how to solve this question without choices. What about if it is not multiple choice? How to solve it? So you need to know the main solution, how to solve it. Now, I will not solve this, shabab, because it is the same as example number 9. This is a recitation question in 1.2, question number 3. The same as example number 9. This is example number 9. Just look at example number 9. This is the one that we will solve together. Try to solve it, shabab. Let's pause the recording and solve it together. Practice in groups. Solve this with your colleagues in the group. Okay, shabab. Check your answer. The answer is square root of 5. This question is a good question. There are many ideas in one question, but it is not a tricky question at all. There is no tricks in this question indeed. Let's read it, shabab, one by one, word by word, please. Please, the time of this question is up. Ya shabab, ya Mahmoud, please. Now, let M be the midpoint of the line whose end points are 1 and -2, -3, and 6. Direct. Did you find the midpoint? Yes. This is direct. So the midpoint here, the midpoint M will be what? It will be 1 plus, you can do it this plus this or this plus this, whatever you want. So it is -3 plus 1 over 2 and 6 or -2, because it is better to start with negative to avoid any mistake, plus 2. The addition is commutative. So it is equals to what? -2 over 2 and 4 over 2, which is -1 and 2. So this is the midpoint. This is M. So let M be the midpoint. We did find the midpoint. This part should be done because it is direct. And let C be the center of this circle. So if the circle, you know that if the circle is x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared equals to r squared, the center will be what? H and k. This will be the center. So this one is not written in the standard form. This is the standard form. This one is written in the general form. To go from the general form to the standard form, what should we do? we should complete the square to have it in this form. So this is what we will do. Let's do this here. So what we will do, we'll complete the square. So it will be x squared plus 4x. We will, the first step that we will do, we will move this -2 to the right-hand side. Now, what is the coefficient of x? Is 4. The half of it, 2. Square it, 4. So you will add 4 for both sides to maintain the equality. Now, plus y squared. What you will do to add, what you will add here? What is the coefficient of y? Is 8. What is the half of it? 4. Square it, 16. So you will add 16 for both sides. Now this will be what? The first 3 terms will be perfect square. So it will be x, the square root of this, plus the square root of this. All check. If you expand this one, you should get what is above. Plus y, the square root of this, minus the sign in the middle, 16. The square root of 16 is 4. All square. This will be -2 plus 4, 2. 2 plus 16, 18. Now, is this the same as the standard form? Yes. Look, brackets, x plus 2 minus 2h. So this means that what? The center, اللي هو in our case C. So the center C is what? H, which is -2, and K, which is here what? Brackets, y, minus 4k. K is 4. Here we are. This is r squared. So this is not it is not related to this quotient. This is the center. Now, what is the quotient now? We did find C. The last part of this question, it is the main, in fact, quotient. Find the distance between M and C. The distance between M and C is, using the distance formula, is what? This is ya shabab, M, this is C. So it will be what? -2 minus 1, or -1 minus. It is the same. Let's start from here. -1 minus, it will be plus all squared, plus 2 minus 4 all squared, or 4 minus 2 all squared, the same. This will be equals to the square root of what? -1 plus 2, 1 squared, 1, plus 2 minus 4, -2, -2 squared, 4, square root of 5. This is the answer. Okay, again, Shabab, this is a very nice question because it contains 1.1 and 1.2, 3 ideas in one question. How to find the midpoint, how to find the center, how to find the distance between 2 points. Okay, now, please. We add here, we move to here. Yes. This is X. You need to come to my office hours, please. The formula, I just erased the formula. It is related to the formula. In the formula, we have X minus H, and here it is X plus 2. Now, go to the third question now. There is a nice trick here that you need to work on, ya shabab. Please. Solve it together, ya shabab. Again, the main idea here is the equation. The equation is not written in the standard form. It is in the general form. So first of all, you have to write the equation in the standard form. The standard form is this: x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared equals to r squared. But ya shabab, k here, it is used for another purpose. This k is not the same as this k. So what I suggest to use here other letters like A and B. So the center here, the center is what? The center is A and B. Okay. Now, what he said also, he said that the circle is tangent to the x axis. What is the meaning that it is tangent to the x axis? It means that r, the radius, let me write it in words. The radius equals to the absolute value of what? The y coordinate of what? Of the center, which is in our case the absolute value of what? B. So we need to find what is this B. Okay, so now the work is what? How to complete the square here. How to find the standard form by completing the square as we did in the previous example. Muhammad, please be with me here. Now you should understand how to complete the square. Now, do you remember what we did here to complete the square? We will do the same here, this part. How to complete the square. If you don't know how to complete the square, Google it, please. Revise the previous example of yesterday. Now we have x squared. Do we have any x here other than this x squared? It is perfect square. X squared, it is x squared. So there is no term with x. So this is x squared. Now we have plus y squared minus 4y. Is this perfect square? No. So it is not perfect square. What we need to do to complete the square? What is the coefficient of y, Muhammad? What is the coefficient of y? What is the coefficient of y? -4. It is -4. What is the half of it? -2. Square it. So yeah, Muhammad, we will add 4 for both sides. We will add 4 for both sides. You know from where this one comes? It is the square of the half of the coefficient of x. Now what we will do? We will go to the next step. Now this will be x squared plus, this should be perfect square. So this is y minus 2 all squared. Check if you square expand this, you should have what is above. Equals to 4 plus 5, 9 minus k squared. This is k squared. Right? Now compare this with this, Shabab. Compare this with the standard form. What is A? 0. This is x minus 0 all squared. This the same as x minus 0 all squared. Let me write it here. This is x minus 0 all squared. Okay? So this means that A, the center, let me say the center. The center is what? This one, it is x minus 0 all squared. So this is 0 and 2. This is the center. Now we said that it is tangent to the x-axis. So what? And let me finish. The radius, what is the radius? What is the radius of this? What is the radius? This is r squared. The radius is the square root of 9 minus k squared. Is it equals to 3 minus k? No, be careful. So this is the radius. Now, according to the information that we have, tangent to the x-axis, tangent to the x-axis means what? Means that k means that the radius equals to the absolute value, means that the radius, equals to the absolute value of the y coordinate, to the absolute value of 2, which means that the square root of 9 minus k squared equals to 2. Now, how to solve this equation? Square both sides. This implies that 9 minus k squared equals to what? 4. Now, this means that what? Minus k squared equals to what? Add 9 for both sides, it will be minus 5. Multiply by -1, k squared will be equals to what? To 5, which means that take the square root of both sides. The absolute value of k equals to 5, the square root of 5. Take the square root of both sides, which means that k is what? Positive or negative the square root of 5. And the answer is as I showed you before, it is A. If there is a trick here, Shabab, in this question, there is, in fact, if you know what we mean by tangent to the x-axis, you can solve it. And also here, the trick is about the notation here. This k is not the same as k that you have in the center. So here, think about it in general. Now, I think we still have time to solve the last question. It is easy but important, Shabab. So let's solve it. Is it in your? Is it there? Unfortunately, we don't have time to give you 5 minutes for you to solve and 5 minutes for me to solve it with you. So let's solve it together now. Let's solve it together. This is an old exam question, Shabab. Please pay attention. The question is, what is the midpoint? So it is about the midpoint of the line joining the x-intercept and the y-intercept of the graph of this equation. How to find the x-intercept? Which one is easier to start with, ya shabab? The x-intercept or the y-intercept? The y-intercept is easier. Why? Just you will put x equals to what? Put x equals to 0. What you will get? Y equals to negative the absolute value of 0 minus 4. Is that right? Which means that it will be negative the absolute value of negative 4. Which means negative. What is the absolute value of negative 4? 4. Which will be what? Negative 4. This negative that is outside, ya shabab. It cannot be go inside the absolute value. Now it is negative 4. So what is the x coordinate now? The y-intercept? The y-intercept is the point. I was planning to change the color. So here the y-intercept is 0 and negative 4. This is the point. Now let's go to find the x-intercept. What is the x-intercept? We will put y equals to what? To 0. We will put y equals to 0. So let's go to the equation, put y equals to 0 and find x, solve it for x. Now when you have 0 equals to minus y, what is y? Let's say z, for example, whatever. If you have 0 equals to negative z, what is z? Z is 0. So we have here something absolute value, whatever, negative whatever equals to 0. So this whatever is 0. Indeed, just multiply both sides by what? By negative 1. You cannot, ya shabab, here, because in the previous class, some students, they distribute the negative over the absolute value. Can we do that? No. Can we do this? Be careful. This is not true. This is not true. You cannot go with the absolute value inside. It is not a bracket, a usual bracket. Now, the absolute value of z equals to 0. What is z? What is the number that its absolute value is 0? 0. So this means that this, what is here, is 0. So x minus 4 equal to 0. What is x? X is 4. So what is the y-intercept now? What is the point that we obtained? 4 and 0. So this is the x-intercept, and this is the y-intercept. What is the question? The midpoint. Now the midpoint will be what? The midpoint will be 0 plus 4 over 2 and negative 4 plus 0 over 2. What is that? 4 over 2 and negative 4 over 2, which is 4 over 2 is 2 and negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. Which answer is the right answer? It is A. Okay. So this is a very easy and direct question. Just you need to know how to find the x-intercept, how to find the y-intercept for any equation, and how to find the midpoint. Also, this is expected question in the major exam because it has 3 concepts at the same time of the question. If we have, ya shabab, we still have 2 minutes. How to solve this, ya shabab? This equation is represent a circle. What is the center? What is the radius? How to find the center and the radius? Complete. But there is a nice trick here. Look at the coefficients of y squared. They are not 1. In the standard form, ya shabab, we have x minus h all squared. So there is no number. The coefficient of x squared is 1. So to complete the square, before completing the square, you should have the coefficient of x squared and y squared equals to positive 1. Positive 1. Don't complete the square if the coefficient of x squared and y squared is not 1. So how to complete the square here? Multiply or divide both sides by 2. So it will be x squared plus y squared minus x plus 4 y equals to negative 1 over 4. We will multiply by half, divide by 2. Now you will combine the x terms together, then the y terms together. This is grouping, kind of grouping. Now what you will do, you need to complete the square for x. How to complete the square for x? You will ask yourself, what is the coefficient of x? The coefficient of x, negative 1. What is the half of it? Negative half. Square it. 1 over 4. So you will add 1 over 4, 1 over 4, ya Muhammad. This is your question. You will add 1 over 4 for both sides. What is the coefficient of x? Negative 1. What is the half of it? Square it. Now, y squared plus 4y. What is the coefficient of y? 4. The half of it? Square it. You will add 4 for both sides. Now, this will be x minus a half all squared plus y plus 2 all squared equals to, this will be cancelled and you'll have 4. Now, which answer is the right answer? What is the center? The answer is D. Be careful. Be careful. The center is a half and negative 2. A half and negative 2. Compare it with the standard 4. Thank you, ya shabab, and see you inshallah on Sunday.